Coming to you live from the Tino Studios in Minooka, Illinois. I'm your host, Bucky Shanks, and this is Tino Tonight. Welcome everybody to the Week 11 edition of Tino Tonight. 10 weeks are in the books and we have 2 weeks left in the conference schedule. Hard to believe we are almost 3 full years into this league that we call Tino NCAA. Time really does fly when you're having fun. Also, a lot of good feedback came in when I asked for suggestions on anything we might want to change when it comes to Tino Tonight. I appreciate all the feedback, and going forward I will be trying new things out and most likely changing up the format for the weekly videos. As always, if you think of something that might be a nice addition to Tino Tonight, let me know. Moving on, we mentioned only doing the Squeak of the Week if the matchup was truly squeaky. Well, it didn't take long for that to happen. Let's get to the Squeak of the Week. For this week's Squeaker, we head to Nashville. A pillow fight in the SEC between Alabama and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, trying to put an end to this losing streak, was let down by Matt Ryan, who put up a pathetic 7.25 points. Alabama did their best to also not win as the Crimson Tide took zeros from Ian Thomas, Yannick Ngakoue, and Nasir Adderley. Also let down by Jalen Rager's 4 points, but nothing new there. Grover Stewart and Leonard Floyd combined for less than 11 points. Alabama had to wait until Thursday morning to receive their win, but they got it nonetheless. Alabama went on to win 822.85 to 822.65. The 0.2 point win is the second closest game in Tino history. Only the Penn State-Wisconsin game from Week 8 in 2020 was closer when Penn State held on by 0.1. The top 5 closest games of all time are all under 1 point. Next up, we got some milestones. This week's milestones, Iowa head coach Jamie Lewis picked up career win number 10 when the Hawkeyes upset Penn State. This brings their career record up to 10-22, also picking up their first career win versus the top 5. Michigan's Joe Cernak picked up career win number 20 when they were out-tanked by Maryland. Joe's career record is now 20-17. Arkansas's Adam Guthrie picked up his 10th career win versus the top 25 when they beat Georgia. Adam is now 10-6 versus ranked teams. Florida State's Cam Bishop hit the trifecta this week when they beat Virginia Tech, picked up their 20th career win in ACC play. The 20 career wins in conference play is the most in the country. Picked up their 10th career win versus the top 25 and career win number 5 versus the top 10. Cam is now a sparkling 20-6 versus ACC opponents, 10-8 versus ranked opponents, and 5-6 versus the top 10. And last but not least, Kansas frontman Tyler picked up career win number 30 when they beat Texas Tech last week. Career record now sits at 30-10, 30 wins in 40 games. Pretty damn impressive. And for the Streakers, Penn State was knocked off last week by Iowa. That leaves Florida State with the longest current winning streak at 9. If Florida State can win out and claim this year's national title, that would be 16 straight and would break the record currently held by Oklahoma's Kenny Bellefuck. On the other side, we're down to 4. North Carolina, Rutgers, Arizona State, and Vanderbilt have all now lost 11 straight. Tennessee and Iowa's records will stand for this season. It would take next year into the regular season to knock off Tennessee's record, and the 17 straight lost by Iowa will also take until next year. And that brings us to our new look top 25. This was one of the suggestions to bring it all together on one screen instead of spread out over 5 slides, also not needing to talk about each team. So we will give that a whirl and bounce around on who we talk about. That being said, Clemson has now won 3 straight and sits 24th. Wisconsin also won 3 straight, currently holding a playoff spot sitting 14th. Baylor continues to roll, winning 6 straight, and now only Florida State sits ahead of the Bears. Oklahoma is starting to heat up at the right time, winners of 3 straight, currently have the Sooners sitting 8th. UCLA and Oregon both have now won 5 straight. Washington has won 4 straight, and they control their own destiny. Auburn, winners of 3 straight, have the Tigers sitting 3rd. And if the season ended today, in the Gator Bowl, we'd have Colorado taking on Notre Dame. The Outback Bowl would have Nebraska taking on Alabama. The Citrus Bowl would feature Florida versus Washington State. And the Peach Bowl would be Oregon State versus Miami. The Cotton Bowl would be Syracuse taking on Mississippi State. And the Orange Bowl would feature Clemson and Oklahoma State. The Fiesta Bowl would be Georgia Tech taking on Wake Forest. And the Rose Bowl would be Washington taking on Iowa State. The Sugar Bowl would be Tennessee and Kansas State. If the playoffs started today, we would have Florida State versus Iowa, Oklahoma versus Purdue, Penn State versus Virginia Tech, and Arkansas taking on Kansas. And on the other side of the bracket, we'd have Oregon taking on Georgia, Auburn taking on Wisconsin, UCLA taking on Ohio State, and Baylor taking on South Carolina. And that'll do it for this week's edition of Tino Tonight. For everybody here at the Tino Studios in Buckingham Palace, I'm your host, Bucky Shanks. Good night, everybody!